Okay, I'm going to try to demonstrate how I take a fret wire out. And now I'm doing this, I'm trying to do this vertically, which normally, I would be doing this, horizontally. So I've got a soldering iron here. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to have to lay it flat for some of this, I guess, but I'm just going to heat up the top of the wire, okay? Being very careful. You really should tape this off, but I've been doing this for a while, so I'm going to go across it 2 or 3 times, just trying to get any glue or anything that may be in the slot that might cause tear out or cause it to hold in there. Trying to loosen it up some. I don't know if it's loosened up or not, but that seems to be working pretty good. And so now I'm just going to take the very tip of the front here, like these points right here, and I'm going to turn this up like this, and I'm going to catch the outside of this fret. Okay, very carefully. I try to get some type of bite under it, wiggle it ever so slightly. Now don't pry, just kind of barely do that. Then try to get another bite until you can get underneath. Okay, there. Now you can't really tell here, but I've actually got both ends of the pliers, but both sides of the pliers barely started in the groove, okay? It is up under the wire though, so I'm gonna squeeze just a little bit, okay? And then I'm going to go in just a little bit deeper and squeeze again. So what happened was there was enough on the back side of the pliers to force the rest up. Somehow it works. I don't, it was still, the fret bar was sort of at an angle, but because you have a bite on the back side, it'll cause the front side to lift some. So that just seems to be how it's working. So I'm gonna squeeze a little bit, okay. Now, as you do this, wood fibers can lift up. So what I suggest doing, and what I've been doing, is taking the bullnose pliers, which by the way are ground flush on this side. If you can see that. Yeah, you can probably see it now. With my finger here, okay. So the bottom side where it's going to the fretboard, that's actually flush. There's a wedge on the inside though, so that kind of gives you, pulling or, wedging power. It wedges it up. So it's flat on the bottom where it hits the fretboard, and then the wedge on the top kind of helps pull it up a little bit. So what I do after I get started, I'm gonna take just one side of the pliers, lay it in flat, way back where it's open, and then just kind of press the fibers down right up against the fret wire. So just in case there's anything lifted up I can't see, and I just kind of do that until I get far enough in, till I need to squeeze again, basically. So basically just where it's lifted up. So I'm gonna do that on both sides. So I'm just ensuring that all the wood fibers are down and I don't get any tear out, okay? Then I'm gonna go in just a little bit farther and all the way up to where it's still open and squeeze a little bit again, okay? And I'm just gonna repeat that process basically until I'm about halfway through, okay? So that's all I'm doing here. So I'm going a little bit deeper, okay? It pulled up just a little bit. So I'm gonna make sure the fibers are down. Do it here too. Yeah, it looks like everything's down. I'm doing my best not to mar up the fretboard as well, okay? So you don't wanna put like little divots or anything in the fretboard. So I'm gonna go in just a little bit deeper and do the same thing. So you wanna make sure that your pliers are actually smooth and there's no burrs or anything like that that can mar up your fretboard. So it's gotta be really, basically polished, not just sanded, but once you sand it out there, you want to make sure you polish it up real good there, so you won't put any, impressions from your tool in the face of your fretboard. So anyway, so I did that, and so I'm not basically halfway through right now, okay? But see how it's lifted? Let me get a little bit closer here. It's almost lifted to the end. You see about 2/3 of the way over. So what I'm gonna do now, let's see if I can do it here. Oh, it's not gonna, I'm gonna have to bring it up just a little bit more first, okay? So let me get one more bite. I could just tell by the tension that you know, when I try to pull up just then. Okay, I'm going just a little bit farther. Okay, maybe right there. So about 3/4 of the way across now. Let me show you what I got. Okay, now here's where the danger is of more tear out. Is on this side here, if you just use the pliers again and squeeze, you may get tear out right here. Well, right here, you know, on both sides of the fret wire. So what I found out that works pretty good, just barely pushing down on this side. It's not really showing it, I don't think, but it's lifted it just a little bit on this end. Okay, let's see if I'm trying to get close enough. It's not really showing it on the video, but believe me, it is. I think there's enough for me to put my pliers in on this side, the end that's still down, okay? Just enough to get a bite. Okay, yep, there it is. So I squeezed, and the fret wire is basically lifted all the way up. If you can see that. Okay, but instead of pulling it out, there's still a chance that some of the fibers could still be sticking up on either side. So I'm just gonna take the pliers and, you know, put them in right up under the tang of the wire and just press down to make sure that that's laying flat as well. Then you can go ahead and it'll just come right out. And let's take a look at it, see how good I did. Okay, this is another danger too. Okay, so I don't want to touch it too much because I just blew out any extra dust or whatever that may be in there. I'm gonna go back and clean it out before I put the new frets in too, with like a dental tool or something like that fits in that groove really good and make sure everything's clean. And I can check the depth of each one of those as I go along, but that's for the next process. You want to make sure that there's nothing in there, so you kind of scrape it out really good. And so anyway, after I've done that, so what you don't want to do is take your finger and run it this way or that way, because if there is any loose fibers, they will come up. You know, naturally come up, and you'll see little chip outs on the side. You have to fix that, and it's a big deal for me. I want to do less work as I have to, right? So, but what I do is after I blow it out, or you know, if I had something to blow it out, tool to blow it out with, I wouldn't have to use my breath. But so I'm just going along here, and all I'm doing is just kind of feeling to make sure all the wood fibers are laying down that direction without going across the top of the hole, because I'll prime up on the other side if I did that. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Just trying to make sure everything's laying flat on this side. And see if I can get close enough there for you. Now some of this stuff was already, you know, so that's pretty clean, you know. The fretboard's been filthy for a long time. I may even polish it a little bit, I'm not sure. But anyway, so that's all I'm doing. And as you see, it doesn't take you very long to do this. And I've already got, you know, about half the fretboard fret wires out. So that's where I'm at. So wish me luck. I'll talk to you later.